Hi, this is Belle Raim, and I'm here today at Sylvan Park with Ray Finney, who is the literacy coach here. She's wonderful. She's my mentor this year. And we're going to be talking a little bit about digital text today ebooks and how print has been changing. So, Ray, I'm going to read a quote from an article that we read just to get your thoughts on it.
Okay.
So O'Brien and Voss said, "We are at a crossroads of traditional print literacy and multimodal literacy, with the rapid transition from print to digital texts, and projections that universities and public schools may use more e-textbooks and e-books devices than print curricula in the next 5 to 7 years." So, from all your experiences that you've had in schools, have you seen digital text being used at any of the schools where you've worked?
Not really. To tell you the truth, not really. And I don't know if it's because, let's see, I have seen an increase of digital availability, but in terms of use, it's still pretty low. And I don't know if it's because I'm with little people.
Mm-hmm.
So in the elementary schools, it tends to not be so much of a multimodal experience because in kinder we're still trying to teach print concepts like front cover, back cover, spine. What does the author do? What's an illustrator? And we really need a book in the hand to do that. Same thing for first grade. So we would really need a book in the hand for those kind of experiences. But I've seen playaways. So, like, where kids are listening to the text, but all of the playaways in the library still come with a book to hold. So they're listening to the text. So it's more of a listen to reading kind of experience. I haven't seen kids walk around with e-readers. I haven't seen kids be assigned things like on, read this article, I emailed it to you, or read this, I posted it on, what's that app that we use sometimes to post
Class
things?
Dojo?
It could, like anything where you can post things and get kids responding. I don't see that a lot. Mm-mm.
So how do you feel then about traditional versus ebooks?
Okay. It's kind of weird because I think I'm old school. Like, I would like to think of myself as a really progressive person, and I like new things, and I like to be in with the sign of the times, but for some reason, I love to hold a book.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't have an e-reader. I have iPad, and sometimes I'll read on there or check out books from the library. So I'm more about the easeability of access. So I love to be able to click a button that says borrow and get something from the library. I think that's really, really cool, but I only use it for a specific purpose.
Yeah.
So to scan through or to breeze through something or to look for something that I can't like order and get in an hour. But I still love the look of a real book, the feel of a real book. I like turning the pages. I like seeing how many pages I have left. I just think it's a personal preference. So for me, and I like bookstores. I like brick and mortar bookstores. I like Barnes and Noble. I like, I like going to the library. I like looking at a selection. But I do appreciate the fast-paced accessibility of being able to click a button and borrow a book. I just don't tend to read them. For a leisure purpose. I borrow them online to see what is in the book or if it's a PD, what the contents is. Or I really like, actually, the National Public Library has this app. I can't even think of the name of it right now, but whatever the NPL uses for their digital library resources, it actually, most of the books come with where you can listen to them too. So if you wanted to play the story, there's, it's just a great, it's not like watching a book on YouTube, but it is almost like turning a book into a movie.
Yeah.
And it's a read aloud. It could be a shared experience, but I just like that as like a culminating activity or like a preview activity that I like. So if I were going to show the class the book, and then we would do a close read and pull out parts of the text, that sounds like that would be fun. I like the way they do it. I just wouldn't use it for the sole purpose of instruction.
Yeah. When I was teaching first grade, we had, I forget what the program was called, but it was on the laptop, and it was like kids had stories assigned to them, and the computer would they had headphones. It would read it to them aloud, then they would practice reading it, and then they would answer questions about it. And at first they were so excited. It's like, oh, we're using the computer, it's fun. But it really after one or two times it wasn't the same. They didn't really enjoy it. They were kind of over it, and it's
a little bored.
And it's just not the same as holding a book.
No.
So
it's kind of, and I think that we were talking about this earlier about the things that Ellen Oliver Keene was saying on piquing interest and student engagement and the studies for that. And I think we think, oh, it's computer, like you said, oh, it's fun, but does that really get after what engagement is all about? So I think the whole point of reading, or the intrigue that comes with really taking a deep dive into a book, or really studying the illustrations, or really going back and turning the page and thinking wait, what did he say? Or you looking at the author's words, or it's not called craft for nothing. So I think when we look, or if we really took time to think about how we would study those things, again, I'm going to go back to the accessibility of having it at your fingertips is quite powerful, but being able to really look and feel and hold and touch a book and really take a deeper dive into it, I just think that is a feeling that cannot be replaced with an e-reader.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. Another thing I wanted to ask you about, kind of thinking about the future of literacy and how students can demonstrate their literacy knowledge too. So in another article we read by Leland and Harste, they said, there are many science systems we have created to express meaning and mediate our world. These systems include art, music, mathematics, drama, and language. They offer different perspectives. They also go on to say that a good language arts program is one that expands the communication potential of all learners through the use of multiple ways of knowing. So students being able to demonstrate their knowledge that they've learned in different ways other than just writing about it, or being able to answer questions about reading. So incorporating art into the classroom, incorporating music into the classroom. So what are your thoughts on incorporating multiple ways of knowing into the classroom, with literacy?
Yeah, I'm big on that. Anything that takes you out of the realm, again, well, let me back up a little bit. I think it has to do with personal preference and how background knowledge and background experiences. So I came from a pretty artistic town. I came from a liberal arts private school. Then I went to a liberal arts private college, and then I'm married to a musician, and art was the way that I expressed myself.
Right.
So in terms of a creative family, my kids are coming from, oh, well, my mom makes things with wood, and she likes to build things, and she likes to paint, and she likes to, create things from scratch. Oh, my dad's a musician. He creates music, he writes stuff, and he performs it. So, it's just hard for me to imagine any kind of learning environment without art or music, because those are the passions that we have in our home. And those are the things that I think pique interest, and those are the things that I like to integrate in order to layer the learning. Yeah. So when we talk a lot about ELA, we talk about layering concepts and how a unit layers themes so that we can layer vocabulary and layer, similar sentence structures, or complexities of themes, or complexity of friendship, or kindness. And I like that, but I think you can also take a deeper, the way that we get that deeper dive is by integrating art and music.
Right.
And music evokes emotion, and art evokes feelings, and all of, yesterday we I was studying Lester Laminack, and I was watching a lot of how does he get kids interested in a book and previewing text. And he was talking about one of the books he wrote, Snow Day, which was a really colorful cover, and how he, color means excitement, and that this book is probably full of excitement because not only is the cover full of colors, but all of the pictures, reds and bright blues. Right. And so when I read The Rough-Faced Girl yesterday, modeled it in a class, before we even started talking about it, was their second read, but I said, I know you've read this before, but can we take a moment to look at the cover? And we did that as a class, and I said, look at this cover art. I mean, it's not an album, but, the cover illustrations. And they said, what do you think about this? Just let them process it. And I myself hadn't taken that long to look at the cover of that book before. And it's dark, it's mysterious. You can barely see the face of the girl on the front. You can see it, but she herself is dark. And all of the kids actually said, well, it reminds me, someone said this, and it was just so beautifully stated by, an 8-year-old. And they said, well, this cover is so dark, and I think it symbolizes the depression and sadness that the girl feels in the story. Wow. And I thought, wow, you're spot on. Yeah. Because that's why. And then I said, so now next time you pick up a book, look at the cover and think about what the colors do to how you're feeling about what you're about to read. Yeah. And so that's just one example of art. And and that was an embedded example. Right. But there are other things that we can bring in to symbolize, or to layer those concepts or themes or notions that are all represented inside of literacy. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you for sitting down with me today.
Of course. It's kind of really fun, actually. It's fun to process. Yeah. And it's nice to have an adult conversation. And it's also nice to think about things that I wouldn't normally think about on a daily basis. So thanks for having me on the show.
Thank you.